SBX Playoffs Round 2 did not disappoint with bar-to-bar battles and some gnarly rhythm sections along with some of the most technical lines we've seen all season. But what really separated the contenders from the pretenders, it was the lines they chose. We first have to talk about this guy and this guy, Levi Kitchen and Hayden Deegan. What went on with them? Why did they end up taking each other out? Or why did Levi end up taking him out? If you saw my live show, you kind of know my initial thoughts, but we'll go over it briefly. Kitchen knows he's not faster than Deegan, but he can block past him, so he tries to square up. You can see his roost. He grabs a handful of throttle, and he is aiming straight for Deegan's front wheel because he is just squaring this up. He has decided to not even go around the berm, but just try to T-bone or block pass. And I think it was really somewhat meant to be a block pass. And so if we watch it, he comes in here, makes full contact, and just tries to take the line away from him. And Deegan ends up just leaning on him, and they both end up going down. It really wasn't a Vince Freeze, Weston Pike type of an incident. However, on camera, it gives off the impression that it was meant to be a full-blown takeout move. But in reality, it seems like more than likely this was just meant to be a block pass. But you have the lines just collide, and I just don't think Levi was really thinking with all systems firing. So he just made a mistake, and it cost both those riders, and it unfortunately made Levi look bad. And I know he's getting lots of bad comments on there. I mean, welcome to the internet. And that's pretty much all I'm going to talk about that. Next, we'll move on to the mistake that Deegan made. Watch as he comes in here. Super cool. See how he ended up braking, and watch that rear wheel and everything lock. So he comes in here, locks everything, and then preloads, extends the bike, does a perfect just jump over all the braking bumps, and front wheel ends up sliding out of this. It's just because he came in with too much roll speed. That was essentially his only mistake, is he came in too fast, and he didn't do that the rest of the night. So it was unfortunate because it was a cool line to come in, hauling butt, and then jump, preload, boom. I saw Jett Lawrence do the same thing, but he wasn't able to get the double after the fact. And if we watch some of his competitors, Tom Vial and Levi Kitchen, they end up just slowing down, going over all the bumps, and it gives them enough time to have both wheels enter the rut and they don't hop over it. Yes, it's faster what Deegan did, but you can't do it every lap at that speed because literally the bike just jumps out of it because he's entering with too much. It's just inertia, right? So just physics. And this was pretty dang cool. You have Cole Davies and Max Anstine, which pay attention to what he does is he's going to go triple on, off, and then quad into the corner, which is cool. But at the end of the day, we are at the point where staying low is fast. So that giant quad is cool, but he ends up going wide. And this is really about just staying low to the ground. And the more airtime you get, you're not going to win races because it just slows you down. Is as much as tapping that rear brake 4 or 5 times during a lap is going to make your lap time a quarter to a half a second slower. We have this data acquisition now. This was super cool. If I'm moving on to Jett, because Jett really stole the show because he was able to go through people like Swiss cheese or sliced butter or sliced bread, something of that analogy, where other riders were not able to do so, namely Deegan. After his crash, he didn't end up coming back up to a fourth place finish. What he's doing here in this back roller section is he goes wide, and then he literally is jumping off of a rut. And what is he doing with this rut? Is he's making a lip out of it, which is just absolutely effing insane. And watch what he does is he ends up freaking going from here and landing over here, which is so freaking cool. And really the only rider that I saw do this. So boom, pop goes the weasel. The other amazing things that Jett was doing was whenever he cased the triple on, he ended up tapping the rear brake to then jump on. Freaking no lip. So he cases, okay, he preloads really effing hard, lifts that front wheel so high, right? He ends up just having to lock that rear wheel to bring it down. And we can see the rear wheel lock as dirt gets flung off of it. He drops the rear wheel, gets flat on top because you want to land with both wheels ideally, because whenever you land with the rear wheel high, it's going to slam. Or same thing, like guys will generally like to case stuff with the front, but ideally they want to land with both wheels. And he's able to just continue. This was something that was so minute, but it was something to where I was just blown away that, hey, he cases this, then he locks the rear wheel and he's able to continue on like nothing happened. Just continue with the section. That's how much these guys are thinking on their toes. And if we back up, really one of the amazing passes that he was doing was beforehand. He ended up squaring everybody up here. He's squaring up Dylan Fernandez. Boom. Slingshots right around. And up next, he slingshots around Benny Bloss. Beautifully done. And if we just back up to see what he's doing from here, is you can see him just come in hot, and he's putting a lot of weight on that outside peg to where this ass end is then just going to slide around, and he's going to drop the elbow and just dump the clutch to have it completely just brake slide around and then cut up underneath. Something that you just do not see nowadays with guys being able to make gnarly passes like this over and over and over again, at least not to this level. Wow. He does it to Benny Bloss. Then he does it to Justin Barsha and gets him at the end of this section. And he does it to Justin Cooper. Just boom. Those guys don't even know what to do. And the beautiful thing about doing that is if he doesn't even want to line up from there, what he could do is he could literally then just block the guy's line where the other guy is trying to go straight, and you could just take the line right away from him. Something just is just on another level. Yeah, it's simple, but it's something that Jett was just able to do different than the rest of the field. And here, we got to come back to this section. Here he's rolling it, comes in, and then just comes out. Just full-blown effing commitment. And thank you for all the fans that sent me this video from the stands. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any sweet lines that could maybe hit the cut on this show, let me know. Send it to me on my Instagram. Here is another view of it just from the drone shot, which, by the way, that drone footage made that dumb section that went into the stadium out, made it so much cooler when the drone flew in there and followed those riders. I freaking loved it. But here, this is just full commitment by Jett to be able to come around the corner and just grab a handful of gas and just downside the next jump. The other thing Jett was doing that was a little bit different from the other guys is he just was getting off the brakes early. Here he is coming in, and from here, instantly, watch that foot, gets off the rear brake and is able to just accelerate all the way around the corner and triple in. I also did not like that section because it just became one line. It made it to be like, why even have this whole side of the track? Because nobody freaking used it. Everybody was just using this side, just one line coming down. It was dumb. I didn't like it, but that's how it was. The halfway 90-degree corners, I just don't like seeing on a supercross track. But anyway, I digress. It was a good practice track. It flowed really nice. And the last thing that was enabling Jett Lawrence to get away from Tomac, because Tomac was really on fire, was him coming up that off camber and jumping in there. And also this little thing right from the inside. Most of the guys that were able to do this quad, they were doing the quad from coming right around the outside to then pop the quad. Jett is able to come to the inside and seat bounce it and boom, get all the way up and over, which, lack of a better terminology, just spectacular. Bam. Well, that does it for today's impressive lines. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys at Vegas. Bra da 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 da.